Right.
What's up, Justin?
Not much. What's going on?
Living the dream.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds good. I got my simulator working
Sweet.
for the push button.
Okay.
I know
Well,
those damn chapters are long as hell in that book.
yeah.
I think I skipped over chapter 4, started chapter 5 though.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think I wasn't paying attention. It was late at night when I started it.
Yeah, the homework wasn't too bad, was it?
No. I mean, as long as you read it, then it's not too difficult to understand. You got to read the chapter. That's all.
Yeah. Trying to remember what I did for. I set up the due dates for the rest of them. So the next one is chapter 2, I think.
I already did that one.
You already did it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I did chapter 2. I'm in the middle of chapter 5 right now, but I for some reason I was thinking chapter 5 was unless did I do chapter 4? Let me see if I did chapter 4. Can't remember if I did it or not. Let's see. I got 1 and 2 here. I gotta do chapter 4. I already started chapter 5, but I'll switch it to chapter 4. Because it was late last night when I started it and I was half asleep. So
Hola.
Hi, Nick.
I have to get a new computer.
Why?
This one's not working very well lately.
Oh. Well, I can hear you and see you just fine.
Took quite a bit of working this weekend. It's not charging. Okay. We waiting on other people?
We'll give the other guys a couple more minutes.
Okay.
yeah, I'll do chapter. I'll probably go ahead and knock out chapter 4 probably today.
What are you going to do the rest of the semester? You get all the homework done in 2 weeks.
Labs. Well, I got a psychology class that requires a lot of reading. So she doesn't assign us assignments ahead of time. She does them day by day. She assigns a lot of reading. So I work ahead with the math too. Like I'm a week ahead in math. So I try to work ahead if I can. Luckily, this class, a math class, allows me to work ahead a little bit. But that psychology, that's a whole lot of reading.
Yeah, I bet. Have fun with that.
I mean, I had to pick something, so I didn't think psychology. Which psychology so far isn't really that hard. Outside of it's a lot of reading, it's really not that hard. A lot of, thinking outside the box a little bit. That's about it.
It would be interesting to take.
I don't know how deep I'd go into it, but 110, I'm fine with that. I wouldn't go too much deeper than that, though. Not for me.
I could see you being a psychologist, Justin.
Shit. Nuh-uh. I got my own problems. I don't hear other people's shit.
I haven't gotten my book yet. I ordered it online because it was $100 cheaper, and they pushed the date back to the 11th. I'll check out the homework and stuff. I might be able to answer most of the questions without the book. I don't know. depending on what's required. It's supposed to be due in on the 11th. I don't know what's going to happen with that.
Okay.
Isn't there a way to like scan the pages of the homework to him or something, to where he can have the chapters?
Yes. There's a couple problems with it. I don't have the PDF of the latest edition, which is what you guys have for
Okay.
summer. Which is fine. I mean, usually there's hardly any changes, just a way for them to make more money. But the other problem is it's highly illegal.
Okay.
But let me see.
Yeah, with the cost of the class, because I'm paying out of pocket, Bridgestone, they don't have any tuition reimbursement for 3 years. So because I'm union and not salaried employee with Bridgestone, so I have to pay for these classes. I have to go in today and pay for this class outright. So I went to find a book. It's expensive through the bookstore, and I never could get a hold of anybody for the book. So I ordered it online. It's supposed to be here Friday, and then they pushed it out to the 11th.
Right.
So
Let me see what I have and see if I can let you borrow the PDF just to get you through
okay.
the weekend. Because what I was gonna do today, what I like to do on the due date of the homework is, you probably noticed I only gave you one attempt at the homework, right?
I haven't checked it. Like I said, I had problems with my computer. I just got onto my Blackboard and then got onto the class today.
Well, I know some of the other instructors will give you multiple attempts. I give you one
Okay.
because I'm a jerk.
No, that's fine.
But
I could probably
every
read.
single homework assignment will go through. What I like to do is go through it the day that it's due. And so everybody knows what the answer is. And then the quizzes are based exactly off the homework. So the homework itself is weighted pretty low in your average. So even if you don't do that well on the homework, only having one attempt, as long as you ace the quizzes, you're
fine.
fine.
Okay.
So I just don't like to give multiple attempts because what does it stop anybody from just rolling through the first time and just answering C for all of them, instead of actually going through the book? And not
Yeah.
that you guys would do that, because you guys are trustworthy.
I definitely would. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I-
Who wouldn't?
I-
Who wouldn't?
definitely
Time
would.
saver. But
I mean, I would read it though. I would read it. But I wouldn't be as pressured to search for answers.
right. What am I doing? Oh, okay.
Well, Nick, what you could do, since he's gonna go through the homework, I guess he could like print off the homework and like use it as, I don't know, a study guide or something. That's what I do with the homeworks. I print them off and use them as study guides.
The first one I saw, I don't know. Like some of it, I'll look through it. Are the homeworks you went through on the videos? They're on the videos, right?
No, we haven't done any yet because we were waiting through last week for everybody to get their
His
books.
book. Okay.
The really fabulous students have their books when they show up for the first day. I don't get any of those students, which is fine. We got plenty of time to get through these chapters. But what I'm saying is, to give you time to get your book, we'll have to push things back another week, which we'll keep going on the homework. If you can just get caught up by this weekend, we'll just wait to do the quizzes until next week.
Okay.
So I'll probably bundle the quizzes into like two chapter quizzes. So like we'll do a quiz on chapters 1 and 2 next week. So if you can get chapters 1 and 2 done and turned in by Monday, then Monday we can go over that homework and take the quiz on Wednesday. We'll plan on that. And then this week we'll just start looking at some of these components and going through the labs.
Sure.
For me, you're going to learn the most out of the hands-on stuff anyway. The book just supplements what I'm going to be telling you.
And I kind of sucks that we can't be there to work on the big boards and stuff like that. That's kind of the. Yeah.
But you have a scaled down version, and I have this. This is pretty close to what those big boards were. So, and that's what I'm going to do today after we talk about relays and motor starters. Is I have a lab that's basically the same thing with this trainer and with the 24-volt trainer that you guys have. So I'll have you guys walk me through how to wire it up on here, and it'd be more of a realistic on the job type setup.
Okay.
And then you can wire up your own on your trainer. So 2 different ladder diagrams because they're set up a little bit differently, but as long as you are following the premise of what we're doing, it should be an easy transition.
Okay.
So, well, I guess it's just us 3. So let me make sure I can. Oh, wait a minute. What am I thinking? Mom!
It starts.
I feel you, man. Okay, I do have a PDF of that book. So did you follow Nick on how to, did you see in those videos how to get onto your Google Drive?
Yeah, I used Google Drive before. It should be on my account through the school, right?
Yeah, at lab.acc.edu.
Yeah.
So here's what I'll do.
Daniel Denise, come here.
So I'm going to leave this. Let me find it first. It's going to take a minute to count it. Okay.
Okay.
So if you find this folder on your Google Drive, you have this at your disposal. I'll leave it up there for 1 week, and hopefully I don't get arrested in this 1 week.
You should be all right.
Yeah. So you should have your book by the 11th. And this is an older edition. You should have the newer edition. But either way.
Okay. And so is it based off of the drive, that motor and that drive for Baldor, the Baldor drives? Is that what I saw on that one?
On just for the picture?
Yeah, is that what it was, or what?
It's just
What are you gonna?
It deals in general.
Okay.
Like it's not manufacturer specific.
Okay, I was just checking. I've been through classes that are.
Yeah, but if you have a 3-phase motor, whether it's Baldor or GE or whoever, it's going to be the same principles. That's what we're going to go through.
Okay.
We're actually going to cover like motor theory pretty briefly because you guys should have had it before this class, but we'll review it. This class is going to be more about control, motor control.
Will they go over carrier signals and stuff like that? Okay.
Where'd Justin go?
I'm not sure. That's what I was playing with my computer. It just kept dying over from Friday through Sunday. And my wife had to help me out and get it working. She's better with hardware than I am. She works for State Farm. She does all gets all their stuff for them, all their laptops, docking stations and stuff like that. I've had a rough time.
Yeah, it's tough.
This is not normal stuff for me.
No, it's weird. Hey, do you still have your parts kit?
Yes, I do.
I think we're going to use the little relay out of there for this class too, by the way.
Okay. I have to find somewhere to get all that set up. I'm transitioning. Do I need to have that board set up today?
No, I'm going to hopefully, when Justin gets back, I was going to go through a ladder on this thing and then a ladder on, and then give you guys a ladder on your trainer. So, and you don't have to do it, get it done today, but you'll have to show me that it's done at some point,
All right.
I'll give him a minute to come back and then I'll go through my little spiel here. Grab a monster.
Yeah, if you get me the schematic, I can build whatever you want.
Okay.
I set up in front of the recliner so I can do this the easy way.
There you go.
Are they going to be doing this next semester too? Next class or?
Hasn't been decided yet.
Oh, good. Ugh. Okay.
Yeah, so we'll start off really simple like this.
The reason why I was asking about wound rotor motors, I just took my test for Bridgestone for up my pay scale to be the master technician, and I just failed it because I didn't know enough about the wound rotor motors for that test. So I have to take it in 6 months again.
Oh, wow. Justin's back.
Now you're gone.
You can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It just kicked me out.
Maybe you were misbehaving.
Eh.
All right. So this is what I'm going to do on the trainer behind me, actually. So if you guys see labs, what I'm having to do is go through all the ladder diagrams that I have for this class originally, or for the setups in the back of the lab on those big giant trainers. So I'm going through and making two different versions of them. One version is going to be for the setup that's behind me on this NEMA trainer. So I have to do this. Too much crap up here. There we go. That's not going to be able to zoom in. So this is going to be one setup. Whoop, whoop. How am I doing?
It's clear. Looks good.
All right, so on the ladder, can you see my cursor too?
Yes.
Okay, good. So this is set up with a disconnect that you can't really see, but the disconnect is up here. You guys understand what a disconnect is and how it works, right?
Right. I do.
I mean, you should have seen it by now, probably in residential at least. But if there's ever a time that you guys haven't seen any of these, then I'll stop and take.
I didn't take residential yet.
Oh, you didn't? Do you know what a disconnect is, Justin?
If I was going off of my knowledge of what the word disconnect means, it means something going to plug to disconnect the circuit. I'm assuming.
Yeah. So look on the ladder diagram. Everything that's in this dotted line represents what's in that disconnect, except there's not fuses in there. It's unfused. But a disconnect is just a way to open up a circuit, right? Usually you see them in the field with big lever arms and stuff, but and if you zoomed in on this here, never mind. But you see the dotted line between the two poles here?
Yeah.
That means that those are mechanically connected. So anytime you pull the lever down, it will disconnect or shut off both circuits or both lines, right?
Okay.
And then if you throw the lever up, it will make both circuits.
All right. So it's a double pole, single throw.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one is in the lab. It's actually everything's three phase in there, but I had to take one out for this.
Okay.
Just don't know how easy it would be to show you. Wish I had another disconnect handy. But just to show you what it looks like. This is the disconnect that I'm working with, Justin. lot of times, so this is a little outdoor disconnect, and it looks like a circuit breaker, but all this is, and it even has a sticker on here that says that this is not for overcurrent protection. All it is to shut something off, okay? And this, the disconnect itself will be rated for a certain amount of volts and amps, but all I'm using this for on this trainer is to shut it off. And then I even put a little pilot light on here to tell if I'm like snooping around on these terminal strips, at least I have this to show me, hey, the thing's on or it's off. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that right there is what's represented on this little dotted line box. So this is the disconnect, and you'll see this quite a bit. This will be the setup that I use for most of the labs on this trainer. Okay, I'm gonna turn this thing back around now. Hello. One thing that I forgot to mention right off the get-go is ladder diagrams are typically based on two different types of circuits. You got a power circuit and you got a control circuit. So what do you think we're looking at here? Power or control?
Power.
Power. This is, don't ever forget that this right here is what we're trying to do, right? When you're looking at our ladder diagrams for this class, you're going to see eventually a bunch of different rungs underneath this stuff. But all we're trying to do is turn this motor on and off. Everything else is just bells and whistles. So we're going to have proc switches and timers and limit switches and pilot lights and all this different stuff. But just keep in mind that all we're trying to do is turn this motor on and off. Okay. Okay, outside of the disconnect, this cable goes through the back of the trainer, comes up to these fuses. So hot, neutral, ground. I've got the hot is fused to 120 volts. So that's what F4 is on this deal. And then what I haven't done yet is, yes I have. No I haven't, yes I have. Yes I have. So then
How
I've
come on this?
120 from the fuse to the line side of this VFD. You guys know what a VFD stands for?
Variable frequency drive.
Variable frequency drive. So what I'm using this for, and we'll get into drives later on this semester, but what I'm using this for right now is to generate 208 because I don't have a phase converter, right? All I have in this garage is 120, 240. I
Right.
need three-phase 120, 208 to run this motor. So I'm using that drive to do that. One of the cool things about drives is you can use, I've got 120 volts going to this thing and it's generating 208 volts three-phase. It's pretty sweet, isn't it?
Yeah.
But on the ladder diagram, when you see this VFD, that means it's the VFD. And then this MS1, these contacts and these overloads is what we're going to talk about today. Underneath MS1, though, that symbol is a normally open set of contacts. So somewhere down here in the control circuit, when we have one eventually, we're going to be able to close those with this motor starter's coil. So the motor starter that I'm going to use for this trainer is going to be this. This is a forward and reverse starter. But right now, all I'm going to do is use the one side. We'll talk about the forward reverse more later too. But I just want you to see on this trainer where everything is so that when I hook it up, you know, you can see on the ladder, okay, that's the drive. Okay, this is the motor starter over here. Okay, that's there. And then the motor itself, so M1 is right here. So all this stuff before here is really just a way to protect this motor. You've got a disconnect, you've got fuses, contacts to turn it on and off, and then you've got overloads. And overload is a way to protect the windings of the motor. So let's take a look at a motor starter right quick. This is a motor starter. You guys see that okay?
Yeah, now I can.
All right, so remember downstairs when you guys learned about inductive reactance?
I haven't had that one yet, but I know.
Inductive reactance is basically the resistance of a coil that happens when you put alternating current on it. What else happens with an inductor when you energize it? You know there's resistance there.
So it creates a field of flux, right?
Yeah. Anytime you have alternating current in any wire, you're creating some kind of a magnetic field, right? So magnetism and electricity, they're always together, no matter what. If it's DC, AC, there's always magnetism there. So what motor starters do, and all this is really, it's a big relay with a bunch of bells and whistles on it. And I should probably just start with a relay, but I'm going to start with the big bad boy so you can understand what's going on with the ladder diagrams. But just keep in mind when you look at this big complex thing that all we're doing is turning off that motor, right? So all we're doing here is taking M1 and turning it on and off. Right now, is it off or on, do you think?
Oh,
Off.
yeah.
That was a trick question. It says off right there, okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay. So this is the coil, right? So all this thing is, and I'm going to take this apart in a second, but all this thing is a coil of wire wrapped around and around and around and around and around and around, right? When you put 120 volts across this thing, it creates a magnetic field and pulls this thing up and energizes the contacts. So when you see on this ladder diagram, the contacts here, MS1, there's 3 sets. 1, 2, 3, and then here is T1, T2, and T3. So all we're doing with this whole big setup is turning on or making contact between these 6 points, right? So off, on, off, on. And just to prove it, some beepies here. Really just need to get some freaking,
You need the magnetic ones.
yeah. These little clips are super handy when you need them. They're super pain in the butt when you don't. All right. So I'm going to put continuity on T1 right now. And close this coil wherever it went. Right? So all I'm doing is simulating if we put 120 volts across this coil, it will create a magnetic field which pulls on this and closes those contacts, right? So all we're
Right.
doing here is making these lugs with these down here. Now you see on the ladder diagram these overloads. These are thermal overloads, and on this motor starter,
Right.
they are right here where it says W26.
Yeah.
Actually, I have mounted on the trainers, missing the overload, so I'll probably take these off and put them on the motor behind me. But how these guys work is, if you noticed I said the word thermal. These have a little spring on the back.
Heater.
Yeah. So sometimes you'll hear these called overload heaters. Take these things off and you look inside of there, and it's like a little wound spring in there. When that thing heats up, it turns and twists this and opens up that circuit. So these, depending on how they're rated, will protect different sized motors at different size voltages for different currents. But the sole purpose of these, it's not necessarily overcurrent. It's for overloading the motor or overheating the motor, right?
Yeah.
Protecting the windings of the motor. I'm gonna go ahead and take all those off while I got my screwdriver sitting right here.
I'm used to the older ones that you can see, and you can see the spring on them from the front. And
Oh yeah.
in order to test them, you see if they'll turn with a pair of needle nose pliers, and if they will, then they're no good anymore.
Okay, and so you guys can see this coil. And what I love about these NEMA motor starters, NEMA relays, everything NEMA, is that they're big and bulky and they're meant to last forever, and you can replace all of these little parts. You know, so if one part of this thing goes bad, you can still use the whole starter. You just have to replace one component.
Yep. The ones on the side, left side there, those are auxiliary contacts, right? 2 and 3.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
So take that cover off, and this.
So this lab right here, this isn't even for us then right now, is it?
Huh?
This lab doesn't really, like, we don't have nothing to do on this lab then, do we?
Well, you're going to be doing the same thing, but with your trainers, just different components.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to teach you right now and show you is what you would really see in the field instead of your little 24 volt setup. Your 24 volt setup will be the same principle.
Well, do we have this? We don't have this piece though, do we?
You do not have a motor starter. We're going to use a relay to simulate a motor starter.
Okay.
With your little bitty DC motor, we don't really have to protect the windings of that with motor overloads, these things, because those little motors are a dime a dozen, right? So buying a motor starter to protect that little thing just doesn't make any sense. But we are going to use a relay to simulate a motor starter. And that's why I asked if you guys have your parts kits, if you guys the ones that you bought from the bookstore, if you have one of your little relays here, this is what I'm thinking about using for the motor starter on your trainer. Okay, so if you guys can dig out your parts kits by tomorrow, I guess, and we'll use these for your lab. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if I ever explained, but when you see lab 1A versus lab 1B, and I've loaded these onto the shared drive already underneath this lab ladders folder. 1A is, if you see an A, that's for the trainer behind me, the big NEMA trainer. 1B is then going to be what you're using on your setup. Okay.
Okay. Now, where did that parts kit? Were we supposed to have it for this class or no? Is that for the
You're supposed to have it for the whole program.
Oh, okay.
Did you never get that?
I've only taken the one class with you so far.
So you don't have a parts kit?
I don't. If you send me what it is, I can probably get one. If you don't mind, I just need to know what I need for tomorrow.
All right. Well, I'll send you what this is, and then
Okay.
here you can write it down right now. You got something to write with?
Go ahead.
HLS 14F3L
3L DC 12 volt C. Okay.
Yeah, and in the meantime, I mean, we can use one of the little 24-volt relays that are on the trainer that I gave you. I just was going to use this because it leaves both the other trainers open to, or both the other relays open to use for other things.
I have ice cube relays, I think, for HVAC, but I don't know.
If you want to use an ice cube relay, that's totally fine. What I was going to put on your trainer was stab this into the proto board that's on there, and then just use this as your fake motor starter. So
Okay.
if you want to use something else that you already have, that's totally fine with me. I just want to simulate a motor starter with something.
It's just got to be 12. It's got to be DC, right?
It's got to be 24 volt unless you want to rig something else up. Totally up to you. My thing is, if you understand this stuff, I don't care how we do it. You know?
Okay.
I'm not really a stickler for the how. It's just, you know, do we understand it? That's what I want to know.
Fantastic.
Okay, so I took apart that coil, and sometime if we ever make it back into the labs, you guys are welcome to go into the lab and take one of these apart so you can see how they're all set up. But this is the coil, and then there's this iron. This is what actually gets pulled together. So when you energize the coil, you're actually energizing. Put that in backwards. Son of a. Didn't I? So when you energize, when you energize the coil, this is what you're energizing. This is just a figure 8. Right? A bunch of wires in there, wrap around. Why won't this, when you put 120 volts in there, why won't that blow a fuse or trip a breaker?
Because the inductive reactance in there is that it's going to cause actual load on it, right?
Yeah. Inductive reactance or impedance creates a resistance or impedance on that circuit. Very good. So this thing is actually doing some work when you put 120 volts on there. But it is wrapped around this iron core. And then when this thing energizes and creates a magnetic field, it pulls those two sets together, which makes the contacts right? And then you get the little on in the window.
Yep.
Kind of neat, huh?
Actually, yeah.
Part. All right. So do you have any questions on motor starters? When it's all said and done, what are we trying to do when you break it down?
Run the motor.
Just trying to turn this motor on.
Yeah.
Motor starter allows you to do that with a reasonable voltage. That's another thing. For any relay, are you still with us, Justin?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I got a lot going on in the background right now.
That's fine. Why would we use a relay for anything? I mean, here's one. I've got I just want to go over as much as I can so you guys don't get too confused. Relays can be, I know they were confusing to me when I first got in the field, like what is the point of using these things? I'm grabbing a relay real quick, hang on.
Yep.
Doesn't the relay like switch polarity so that when that like simulate like a start stop type of thing?
They can. Okay, so I found this little relay in my bag of tricks. This guy is a 10 amp relay. It's rated in horsepower too.
Huh.
Yeah, this is a bad example. But pretend that sticker says this is, let's say this is a 60 amp relay. And we can use it for up to 277 volt.
All right.
Okay, that's what we're pretending. What's handy about using a relay for switching up to 60 amps and 277 volts? Instead of using just like a toggle switch, like a light switch, why would I use this thing, do you think? Number one, to handle up to 60 amps, I would have to buy an enormous switch, right? So the toggle switch itself would be huge because it has to be able to handle that amount of current and that amount of voltage. These things are made so where the contacts are made, they're made nice and bulky so they can handle that current. The other thing about them is if I'm switching 277, or let's say it's even 480, I don't really want to be, you know, they have to make those things heavy duty because 480 volts is pretty dangerous, right?
Right.
Here, I can use a smaller control voltage. I could even use something as small as 24 volts AC to control this.
Right.
So if I have this wired up to whatever component, let's say it's a I don't know,
Pump.
Sure, a pump, yeah. So running a pump off this thing. All of my control wiring can be a really tiny gauge, like it is on your trainer, right?
Right.
So we can handle, with that control wiring, we can handle up to 3 amps. So we're using a bunch of 3 amp wiring and components and little 24 volt components to close this thing and turn on a motor that'll handle up to 60 amps. So it ends up saving you money in the long run on your control wiring too.
Right.
The last thing that's nice about these is they have normally open. This one doesn't. I think these are just normally open. But they have normally open and normally closed sets of contacts. So on your motor starter, on the ladder diagram, are those normally open or normally closed?
I'll give Justin a chance to answer if he wants to. Normally open.
Yep. When they're shown on a print, they're shown in their de-energized state unless it states otherwise. So these are normally open.
Right.
All that means is that when you turn this thing on, the motor stays off until you close these.
Right.
Those were normally closed. Then you turn it on, the motor would turn off. When you energize the coil, those would open up. When we talk more about relays,
I'm sorry, I'm not actually fully engaged. I got a lot going on in here right
Okay,
now.
That's okay. Me and Nick will hang out. So Nick, you probably know a lot of this stuff already, but just
That's
for the
all right.
sake of putting this stuff on the videos for the class to catch up on online.
Yeah.
So let's walk through this together. A little 24-volt relay here. This is a little 12-volt relay. All right, so here's my little 12-volt relay. And turn it aside. Which one of these contacts do you think, or these pins, represents the common?
So the common's going to be the one in the middle,
Right.
right?
And the common between this silver one is normally closed.
And the next one's normally open.
Right. So when you see, yeah, we just kind of went over that. What I'm going to do is, and I don't know if you other guys in your intro classes, your instructors had you use these things at all. Maybe they did. I think they said they were going to, but let's see. All I have here is I'm using the same 24-volt power supply that you guys have on your trainers. And then I'm using this little resistor for a voltage divider so I can knock it down to around 12 volts.
Okay.
So I'm going to put 12 volts across this coil, and then what you'll see happen, zoom on this thing anymore. Oh yeah. What you'll see happen is there's a little plunger underneath this coil. When this coil is energized, it will create that magnetic field and pull that plunger up. That plunger, when it gets pulled up, actually comes up here and pushes this common contact over to this side. And you'll see that happen when I energize the coil. I'm going to zoom in on it as much as I can so you guys can see it. Oh yeah. Oh, now we're talking. If I can just get this thing to stay put like that. Whilst I energize the coil. All right, you ready?
Yeah, magic time.
I can't see what I'm doing. Hang on, I gotta turn the power supply on. Okay, here we go. See that plunger pulling up to the bottom of the coil?
Yep.
And there's a lever up top that pushes the contact over to the other one. So right now it's normally closed, the coil is de-energized. And then when I close the control circuit, it makes the other set of contacts.
Right. Gotcha.
So that's the premise of a relay, and that's another useful thing about relays is that you can have something that's normally on and shut it off, or you can have something that's normally off and turn it on using the same relay. And this relay has, I guess, 2 sets of contacts. So this would be double pole, single throw. You can see that on the
Yeah.
side. And
Those aren't
you
electric.
look at this thing, here's the pins, right?
Yeah.
And you can, the nice thing about Ice Cube relays is you can look inside there and see what's going on. But obviously these 2 are hooked to the coil
Right.
here. And then here's your common pin, normally closed, normally open. Make sense?
Yep.
So
And
this
those
is going to
aren't-
be our fake motor starter. There's just no overloads on it.
Those aren't electrically connected, right? The 2 sets of contacts.
Which ones?
The individual, like this side, and then if you turn it around the other side, those aren't electrically connected, right? They're
No,
separate.
they're isolated by this little, you see that divider in there.
Yeah, that's a.
So what you're asking is, can this make with this? So can that pin make with that when the coil is energized? And the answer is no.
Okay.
These are dependent on only each other.
Okay.
All right, so I guess I will, I'll hook up my power circuit. There's really not a whole lot to explain here, just coming from the disconnect to the drive, to the motor starter, to the motor. So I'm gonna hook those up. And you guys can start, if you want to take some time to start working on your lab. So this is your lab, 1B. And this is also on the shared drive, but you're gonna come from your power supply to your relay contacts through your fake overloads that you don't have, and then up to your DC motor.
Okay.
All right, so this is lab 1B. Motor starter 1, normally open contacts are just gonna be on this guy, which you're gonna have plugged into your proto board, and you're just gonna use 1 set of normally open contacts. I guess you use both. We can switch the plus and the minus, and then go from the other side over to your motor. Cool?
Okay.
All right, well, that's all I'm gonna jaw at you about today. If you guys wanna work on that or take
So
off
what-
work, what's up?
Until I find that relay, do you want me to just do? And so when we do the labs, are we supposed to do it on our own and show you later, or how does that work?
Well, I wish everybody was here right now. We could just all work together. If everybody, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stick around for another hour, right? I'm just gonna plan on being here from 9 to 11. And if you wanna work on your labs then, and then I can help you out. Otherwise, you can work on them on your own time and show me whenever it's convenient. But for you, since you don't have this thing, just use one of the other relays for now until you can get.
Okay.
So.
Like I'll make something work, but I need some time to scavenge what I need.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So I have a deep desire for this to be really to go really well and for it to be well structured, but circumstances are horrible right now.
I understand. So you just use one of these for right now. For
Okay.
your power starter.
I can do that.
Cool.
On the other schematic that you had, the other ladder diagram, it shows them actually fusing neutral inside.
Yeah, I should have removed one of these fuses. I just took. Let's see if I can
I've-
pull it up.
I've
This used
never
to be.
seen-
This is a three-phase. Yeah, the neutral shouldn't be fused. The neutrals probably shouldn't even be switched.
Right.
But and actually it's not. So this is actually drawn wrong. I just didn't take this stuff out.
Okay.
They used to look like that, right? Three phase, all three fused.
Okay. And you just cut and pasted over one line to make it a neutral.
Yeah.
I gotcha. All right.
So, and actually there are no fuses in that disconnect behind me. It's unfused, but
And that's fine, right?
yeah, it's however you want to protect your circuit conductors. But in this case, all we have is the one fuse between the disconnect and the drive. So, and then when I pull off for a control circuit, I'll just tap into right in here. So the control circuit will be fused too. So this, eventually you'll see a branch coming off right here and going down to the ladder diagram, the control circuits.
Yeah. And that's a huge motor starter that you have there. I'm used to the smaller ones that they all come together, like, like the Schneider Electric or
The
something like
IEC ones, little plastic ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that you most commonly see now. I have seen the bigger motor starters and the reversing and the star setups and stuff before on the older stuff, but yeah, that thing's a beast. You could use that for 100 years and not have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right.
I like that NEMA stuff. The IEC stuff is cool, but if it breaks, you have to replace the whole thing. It's nice because you just snap it on some DIN rail usually, but
Yeah.
If you lose the coil on a NEMA contactor, which you probably rarely ever would, but you just replace the coil.
Yeah.
If there's a set of one contact gets burned up, you just replace that contact and you're good to go. So
Yeah.
Are we leaving these push buttons in for this lab, or are we disassembling the push button, like taking it out?
I'm talking about
When you had us put the push buttons
for the light.
Yeah.
You can leave that for now. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything. But what you're going to need to do is take the relay and put it in there across that channel, right? Somewhere.
Yeah, I got the relay in. I don't know if I got it in. I think, yeah, okay, yeah, I got it in how you got it in. So I got my wire connected to the hot of the motor. And I can't tell from the schematic, from the ladder diagram. I mean, I know black goes to ground, so I would have to ground this thing. I probably should.
Black is not ground.
Black's not ground on this?
No, it's the negative side of the power supply. So there's.
I got you.
So it's more like a common.
Okay.
But what are you asking? You came from the red here.
Yeah.
You're trying to figure out where to take it?
Yeah, I can't tell from the ladder diagram where. I'm still kind of, I can't really read these things too good.
All right, let me help you.
Hey, Holmes, I'll be right back.
All right.
Oh.
So I'm getting ready to put the hook the wire to the negative side of it, so that way both wires are hooked in.
All right, so here's how I usually approach these, and you can do it however you want, but this is what I would recommend is if you can open this thing up in a way that you can edit it like this. But how I do it is once these diagrams become more and more complex, you're going to want to be able to have a way to see what you've done and what you still have left to do. So how I do it is you came from the red side, which is this, right? So this is the plus side of the power supply. So where are you going with the red?
Well, I would say, if I can remember from intro class, I think it was intro, you take the red, maybe it was DC, you take the red and you take it to the coil. I believe that's what we did in intro class.
Well, why don't we start at the power supply and work our way towards the motor? It just
Okay.
logically would make more sense to see
Oh,
providing
yeah,
power to the motor. So you're kind of starting at the motor and work your way backwards, which
Okay,
is fine if you understand what everything is. But
but I
the
don't.
first thing that I'll tell you is that these overloads do not exist on your trainer. We're faking
Okay.
the motor starter by using that little relay.
Right.
Okay, so let's start just with the plus side of the power supply. First, it goes over to the fuse. Do you need to do that?
Yeah, I need to do all that.
It should be done already, Justin.
What do you mean?
On the plus side of the power supply, you've got it going over to the fuse.
Oh yeah, I got all that done. I got all that done. Yeah.
Right? Then
Yeah.
the bottom side of the fuse goes over to this terminal strip. So all we're doing is somewhere here, we're going to pull plus 24. The first plate, so on my ladder, I'm going to do this. So this is done. So we need to go from the load side of the fuse to this motor starter. Now, where's our fake motor starter?
It's the relay.
Right, it's right here. And we need to use a normally open set of contacts on this motor starter. So where do you think that is?
The normally open would be. Let's see. You said the common was the middle.
Yep. So you're gonna use the common and then one of the other pins.
The third pin. Hold on. No. Yeah, the third pin is normally open. It looks like.
Yeah, so let me try to do this without moving my camera all around, but you're gonna use the middle, it's the common, and then on this one, yeah, normally open is gonna be the one furthest to the outside, the one furthest away from the coil. Right now, those contacts are
Yeah, the third pin.
So what ends
Yeah,
up
that's the third
happening?
pin.
What ends up happening is when you energize the coil, which we're not even doing yet, when that gets energized, it will close those.
Right.
So on the ladder, when the coil gets energized, which we don't even have a coil on this ladder diagram yet, that will close and make and turn on the motor on. Make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So I got to hook something from my power. Or do you just want me to use the wire from the push button?
No, we're not
can do
doing
that too,
push
like-
buttons or anything yet. All we're doing is
I know, but I have a hot coming to the push button. So I can just take that and plug it into the coil, right?
to this.
Yeah, to the coil. So that'll give me my hot. That'll give me my hot wire.
Yeah, that's fine. Yep, I see what you're saying. But just remember, this is not a coil. This is a set of contacts.
Okay. Well, I mean the coil contact, I should say.
The relay contact. Yep, normally open contact.
What are we using to control this, or are we not?
We're going to control it in a bunch of different ways.
Okay, so you just want the circuit set up without any control, without anything on the coil
Right.
side, right?
Yep. All we're doing is hooking up the control circuit to be controlled at a later date. If you
Okay.
want to put 24 volts on that coil and turn your motor on, that's fine with me.
So if I'm you, so I need to get a relay like you have there, right? Or can I use the Ice Cube relay on this set?
Yeah, you can use one of these for now.
Okay. So
I just don't
would
know.
just
The thing is the reason I'm using the little Ice Cube relay for a fake motor starter on this is because at some point we might be using both of these things.
okay,
Control circuit. You know what I mean?
and I can always rewire mine later.
Yeah, but for now, just to make the lab work, just use that if you want.
Okay. So and so then on this one, I can read that. So you want it wired to the normally open, right?
Yes.
Okay. I was not prepared, sir. How else do you have? How do you have? Were we supposed to wire in the indication lights and the toggle switch and everything on the plastic control box?
All this? All this stuff?
Yes.
Yeah. It's on one of the videos, so just get yourself caught up on last week and you'll be
Okay. All right.
you'll be good.
All right. I can do that.
All right, so right now what I have is, so I took the red lead and put it on the relay contact, which I call the coil contact, just so I know what I'm talking about. Then I took the red lead from the motor and I hooked it to the common contact. Then I took the black lead from the motor and I connected it to the normally open lead or contact on the relay switch. I'm trying to see on this ladder diagram. It doesn't, I don't know. I'm not understanding this. So I know you said, okay, we got the 24-volt power supply.
Yep. So on the plus side, you've already gone to the fuse. The other
Right.
side of the fuse goes to the terminal strip. So
Right.
you're going to take a wire. I think what you did is took the one off that push button.
Yeah.
And did you take it to the common?
No, I did not take it to the common. I took it to the lead that's, or to the contact that is on the coil side, the coil contact.
So, but you
So
want
I
to
did
go to
it
the
wrong.
common, right?
So I want to go to the common.
Do you have anything on the common pin right now?
Yeah, I have the red lead from the motor connected to the common.
Okay,
So that's common.
that's fine, but we're not using a normally closed. We're using a normally open.
Okay. So I just hooked my hot. So let me think. So about these relay switches, the power goes to the common. Is that in all cases?
Doesn't have to be. It'll work both ways.
Okay.
But let me show you what I'm talking about. And I think if what I'm hearing is right. You came in from the fuse and you went to
Right.
this pin.
Yep.
Okay, that's wrong. Do you see how that's normally closed?
Yeah.
So if you hooked all this up and plugged it in, your motor would just start running, right?
Okay.
Because
Okay.
on the ladder diagram, this would already be closed.
Right. I got you now.
We want to go to either the normally open or the common.
I got you.
Doesn't
I
matter
understand
which,
now.
but then the other side, going through our fake overloads to the motor, is where we're going to go. So what we want to happen is whenever we energize the coil, like that, it makes and turns the motor on between those two pins.
Okay.
When you draw the schematic out for that relay, it makes a lot more sense. Instead of thinking of it as a complete, like a common that you would for something for like a transformer or something like that, for the relay, it's more like power in and power out. So the center one would be your power in, right, Zach? And then one side would be power out, normally closed. One side would be power out, normally open. That's what you're switching. It's just like a switch, right?
Yeah,
Okay. All right, I can do that.
I'm just having a lot of fun doing this right now.
I can see that. Trying to make it chatter and doing Morse code.
So then from the motor, I run it to the common as well?
No, we just from the out. So the center one is power going in, right?
Right.
And then you run it from the one that's open to your motor. That's what's going to pass the power. The other side of your motor goes to the negative for your power source or wherever Zach has it.
Right.
Pre-wired that.
See, I got the black lead going to the normally open.
Okay, look at the ladder. So you've got, I'm assuming you have this done and you have this done, right?
I have the motor, the black lead from the motor. Oh, let me try to see this ladder diagram. How do you? Okay, let me think. Okay, I see the positive. So for my positive, it needs to go to. Okay, hold on. Don't tell me. The positive needs to go to the. It needs to go to the relay switch, which would be the middle contact. That's the positive. Let's see. No, that doesn't go to the middle. That goes to the normally open. And then, so if I'm looking at the ladder right, then that means the black lead goes back to the power supply. Or not, yeah, back to the negative side of the power supply.
I
So
just
I would
I don't understand what you're saying without seeing what you're doing. I'm trying to
Okay.
get a grasp on what you have done already.
Okay, so what I have done already, I took the power supply, the positive, which is the red, and I hooked it to the common.
Okay, so that's these two. Let me start over. This is why I do this when I'm in person. So this is done, and then you took this to
Yeah.
the common of the relay. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead. So the normally
So then
open side of the relay, have you done anything with that yet?
Yes, I did. I took the red lead from the motor and hooked it to the normally open contact.
Very good, perfect. So this is your red lead on your motor.
Yes.
Okay, so
I
the
see that now
positive
because I
side is
see the
done.
positive. Yep, I see that. Now I got to do the negative side. It looks like the negative side is going back to the power supply. Is
Yeah,
that
so you
right?
could start left to right just like you did the positive side. So what you're going to do then is on this relay, if you've got, let me show you something. So So what I'm assuming is you came in from the positive side, and did you use on your board? It probably looks like this. Which side of this relay did you go on?
I went off the left side.
Okay, so you came in on the positive side of your ladder. You came in right here, and you went to common,
Yep.
and then you went to the motor with normally open, right? That's probably what
Yep.
you have in front of you, right? So the negative side.
Well, I did. Oh, okay. So I hooked it to the wrong side then. I hooked it to the other side. So I need to be on the same side as the power then, right?
Oh yeah. So these contacts are associated with each other. You can't use this common with this normally open. Is that what you mean?
I got you. Yeah, I got you.
So this is one set of contacts. This is another set of contacts.
Okay. So I did that wrong. Okay. I got it fixed.
So then on the negative side, from your power supply, I'm going to go from the negative side over to, let's just say your common, do it the same way. So from the power
Okay.
supply, you're going to go to, do it here, right?
Yeah.
Then you're going to have
So let me
another
hook up
one.
my to the other to the other normally open.
Right?
Or normally closed, wouldn't it be?
Yep, normally open. And then this one would go off to the motor, right?
Yeah. Okay, I see how you're supposed. Okay, I get it. I get how you're supposed to do these now.
And then on the ladder, came in from the power slide, supply went to the common, and the normally open went to the motor. It looks to me like we're done.
All right. I think I kind of understand. Well, I ain't gonna say I understand it all the way, but I think I got a better idea of what's going on.
So, Zach, I had a question.
What?
The- that's so disturbing.
What?
The universal kit, I guess for every class that has the relays and stuff in it, is that online for me to find somewhere so I can get that stuff?
That's only available for the from the bookstore. I could give you all the parts from it. I could
Okay.
give you a list of parts, but if you just, it's like $20 at the bookstore.
How do I get it? Will they just mail it to me, or do you know? Or
You'd have to call them. I think you just call and come pick it up from the school sometime when you're in town.
Okay, I can do that.
So if you got to go in and did you say you're going in to pay today?
No, I'm gonna. I just credit card. I'm just gonna
Oh.
do it online. Yeah, I'm gonna do it today. I didn't know the bookstore was open though.
Yeah. Give them a call though, because I have no idea what they're doing with their hours or anything like that.
What kind of protocol they have for coming in there?
Yeah, I'm sure you have to wear a mask and all that stuff. So
I do it every day I go to work, so that's not a big deal. I want to get that. So all right, I appreciate it. Until I'll get that stuff and I'll watch the videos and everything. Are we meeting again tomorrow in the morning?
I'll be here.
Okay, I'll be here too. I'll do whatever I can tonight for as far as the wiring goes. And
Try to
I'll-
get try to get the homework done. Let's see, by Wednesday. So chapter 2 homework. I guess I need to look at that. You guys still see my screen?
Yeah, I don't think I did mine right. Something ain't right. Let me see.
Why is that, Justin?
I'm trying to see.
Right now, your motor should not turn.
Okay, because it's definitely not.
It's what's normally open. So at some point in time, when we start getting into the control circuit, we'll energize the coil that's on that relay, and it will close those contacts and spin the motor.
Okay.
Okay, so I got chapter 2 homework due Wednesday. Let's bump that back to Thursday. Nick, do you think you can get those first 2 chapter homeworks done by Thursday morning?
I work tonight all night and tomorrow or Tuesday night all night. I can get off Wednesday and probably get them done.
Okay. Yeah, if you can get them done by Thursday morning, then we can go over those. Just
Okay.
using the PDF that I put on the drive.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
I can do that, no problem. And then I'll get as much of the wiring. I'll go back through the 2 videos that are online. The other 2, I can do the wiring. Is that the wiring that you did for the control panel, the power source? I'm guessing, and the fuse.
Yeah, really all we did was we just prefabbed all this stuff. So that's all we did last week was some of this. And then we did a little lab with a push button and a pilot light just to, you know,
Okay.
make some lumens happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. That's fabulous.
It's fabulous.
You sit at home and do this all the time, don't you?
Yeah, I don't have a life.
All right. I'll get into that. I appreciate everything. Appreciate your patience with the fact that I'm not really up to speed on this stuff. So,
No problem. We'll get through it.
and I'll get that kit from the bookstore as soon as I can. I'll call them and find out what their hours and stuff are, and then worst case scenario, I'll have to drive over to Thursday and pick it up.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You're going to need it for 133. You still have to take 133, right?
I don't think that's the one that I might have an equivalent for from another college.
Okay. Well, you're going to need that parts kit anyway if you haven't needed it for.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, I got all mine hooked up. Outside of that, homework, and that's about it, right?
Yeah. So homework chapter 2 for Thursday. And then the next couple days, we'll just try to embellish on these ladders a little bit more. We'll start when we get into the control circuit. We need to go over wire numbering. You guys have wire numbers, and we need to start. That's something that I want you guys to get in the habit of doing every time. So we'll talk about, yeah, we'll just keep going on the labs and, you know,
Okay.
have some fun.
All right, appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys.
All right, thank you.
See you later.
Have a good day.
You too.